Welcome to this new video where I invite you to discover Ride 6 in a sneak preview, which is being released today in its ultimate version. This version comes with 3 days of early access. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until February 12, 2026. Today, I want to give you a preview. Simply put, let's take a look at the beginning of the career mode, see what the game looks like in terms of graphics and driving, and check out some of the different content. In short, let's get a first quick impression of this little Ride 6. For your information, I'm discovering this on PlayStation 5. Obviously, we're going to start by creating our character, and then I think we'll have a shortcut scene introducing the career mode, Ride Fest, which is the new type of career mode in this Ride 6. It's aiming to offer an atmosphere similar to Forza Horizon with a traveling racing festival. So, let me give you a quick reminder of the main unknown information about this Ride 6. While the career mode is loading, feel free to check out the video I released yesterday if you really want to know everything about the game. But one major change is the new Ride Fest career mode. We have a game that's made with the Unreal Engine 5 for the graphics. And for the first time, the game really offers two different physics modes. On one hand, there's the arcade physics, which I think is the default one the game is set to here. A physics mode that's easier to handle for players who aren't necessarily used to playing a lot of motorcycle games. And another physics mode, let's call it professional, which is actually much closer to what you've already experienced in the previous games of the series. So, if you want to get back to the traditional riding style, the classic ride experience, you need to switch to Pro mode. And if you're a new player, if this is your first motorcycle game, you have the arcade physics mode. So, whether it's about that or about the career mode, which actually has a slightly more Forza Horizon-like aspect. We're looking at a game that might aim for a wider audience. But since this is just a first look, I'm not sure what to expect. Also, it's been a while since I last played a game. Ride 5 has been out for a little while, and the last one I really played was actually Ride 4. Also, the game offers 300 motorcycles that can be customized and upgraded. On that front, honestly, it's way ahead of Ride 5 and especially way ahead of the competition. Most motorcycle games offer, let's say, 30 or 40 bikes, but here we have 300. So yeah, it's really something else. So this is the introduction race, which in my opinion will serve the game more or less. Do you offer post settings regarding the game's physics, regarding the difficulty, to gauge you a bit, so then they can set parameters that seem most suitable? That's just at first glance. Obviously, we'll see how it turns out after several hours of gameplay. Having tested several bikes, several tracks, and various race conditions, it's true that at first glance, honestly, it looks really nice. So, here's something quite interesting actually. The game is going to let us try out the pro gaming experience, since for the first race, we were just here in arcade mode. We'll see how it is in pro mode, since these are meant to be two separate physics systems, not just differences in driving assists. So let's just do a quick thing. If I can, I'll adjust the music volume in the settings, just so it's not too loud and, most importantly, so we don't have any copyright issues. There we go, music in the menus. Like this, there shouldn't be any problems. There we go. Oh yes, all right. So yes. Okay, there really is a difference. It's not just about driving assistance, it really feels different on the bike. Actually, here, if you want, it's like the inertia of the bike and the controller is much stronger. Honestly, I have to admit that I much prefer this mode for now. At first glance, the Pro mode is the one, I think, that will give you the most driving sensations. And it's the one where maybe you'll need to be the most meticulous. But it's also, I think, the one where you can really feel the bike the best for now. Of course, we'll have to see after testing several bikes and trying out different race conditions. But actually, the Pro physics, even though it's more demanding. We just saw it with the braking I just did. Clearly, you can feel that I should have managed it better myself, maybe. The way the rider leans to optimize the steering a bit, you can also feel that the bike might wobble more, that it might tend to be a bit rougher when accelerating again. All that might seem like, let's say, extra difficulty, but actually, I don't think so. I think that in a motorcycle game, precisely, you really need to have as much feeling as possible to really sense where you're going and to properly master the physics. And I think that, in my opinion, it will actually be easier with the pro physics than with the arcade physics. Still, yes, it's true that there's a really big difference in handling between the two. It's funny, I was thinking of putting it in arcade mode to discover the game, because it's actually been a little while since I last played a motorcycle game. But I think in the end, my bad. I think in the end, we'll go with Pro mode. It'll be a bit more fun. And well, if we lose because I'm too bad. That's the game. We'll learn the hard way. So, I'd like to show you the other cameras, but I haven't figured out the controller's buttons yet, though I did find them. To shift gears, it's cool. We'll switch to manual mode later, so it's going to be B, square, triangle. What is it? Ah, that's to display the different screens of the bike, the different information about the condition of the tires, about what else we have, also about the amount of assistance we have. Ah, yes. Okay, so I can reduce the ABS directly from here. We can also reduce the traction control, the anti-wheelie, and the braking assistance too. The mapping, since you see at the bottom the power, that's the engine map we're in. Knowing that here, we're in full, so we have the most power, but we also have a bike that's going to consume more. And right here next to the little speedometer, we have the fuel gauge, which I'm looking at right now. Look, it's already gone down a little bit. Okay, so that's good, but if I want to change the view, okay, so that's to look behind. Select? Well, that's not doing what I want, so how do you change the view? There has to be a button for it. Yes, we got a better time and a better position by playing in Pro Physics mode. So, just because it's arcade doesn't mean it's actually easier. Alright, we'll switch to Pro then. I don't know if we can change that at any time. I hope so. So that someone who starts, for example, in arcade or in Pro, if they realize it's not for them at all, they can change. So, a loaner bike. Oh yes, a loaner bike then. There. It was a KTM 990 that was lent to me for the first introductory race, and since it's a loaner bike, I didn't complete any objectives with it. It doesn't count for progression, even though I still earned some money, I think, and some driver experience points, which means that now we're going to have the choice to buy our first bike, in my opinion, and we'll have the choice between several categories. So, okay, 2, 3 bikes. Okay, I think we're going to go with the Yamaha, in my opinion. At the bottom, that's the SEM category, and with the number next to it, that's going to be the performance index in the category. So, we're going to go with that. For this preview, I have the game's standard edition. I think that for those who have the big version of Ride 6, you should normally start with a few other bikes in your garage, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, let's keep going. So, we could customize the character a bit. I'll show you that quickly because, honestly, in a game like this, it's really not the main thing. I don't find it very interesting, especially since it has no impact on your career later on. Here we can customize our character's appearance, knowing that we can have 2 different outfits, one for off-road and one for road racing, since they're not exactly the same suits and accessories. But after that, in my opinion, you can customize everything. That's right, you'll have helmets from lots of different brands. And again, in terms of content, there are more than 300 customizable motorcycles. There are about 30, almost 40 tracks in the game, plus all the rider customizations. That's huge. I think we don't really realize just how much of an exceptional step up there has been in this area. With Ride 6. Actually, for me, with Ride 6 I can see it, though maybe I'm wrong. You can give me your opinion about it in the comments. But I see it as the motorcycle game that managed to catch up with car games. Motorcycle games have always had less content and slightly worse graphics for as long as I can remember. They've always had, let's say, a bit of a niche aspect. I think this Ride 6, at least from what I've seen about the game and from what I've been able to test so far, I feel like it's the motorcycle game that comes closest to the level of content and technical quality you get in a major car game. That's really cool. You can customize everything. I won't show everything in detail since the goal is to preview some gameplay and the structure of career mode, but just for the number of different combinations, the number of bikes, the available customizations, even just that is already really cool. Additionally, there are many bonus customizations, including color changes. You won't be disappointed with the content. So, you can also choose the riding style. I think back in the day, on the rides, I like to set it to the old school mode. Both feet, legs out, braking. Well, I don't really know if that actually has an impact on the driving. I'd tend to say it's more visual too. Ah yes, now that, on the other hand, does have an impact. Because the more you put on the right when braking, basically, I think the brake trigger will be more sensitive. Maybe we'll set it to 2, actually. Motorcyclist, road, motorcyclist. Ah yes, so that's it, okay? That's what it's for. Actually, you can customize your experience and your riding style according to the motorcycle category you'll use. There are racing motorcycles and motor-type motorcycles. Ride 6 is the first in the series to feature off-road, with specific tracks and motorcycles. So, they decided to go all the way and really offer customization for each of these riding modes. So, this is the main menu. It's the menu where you'll be able to switch from one mode to another. Let me show you a bit of everything we have, just so you can see how it's done. There's a shop with 2 used motorcycles. I didn't know that would be there. So, in my opinion, we'll have the chance here to get cheaper bikes, that's what it is. The used bike shop has older bikes, so the most recent one available here is from 2014. And they're mostly cheaper bikes. I could almost afford all of them, except this one that costs $80,000. But otherwise, with the budget I have, $29,000 we could get this BMW here, which already has 130 horsepower stock. So we could already start with something pretty powerful. I'm not going to do that now, because I want to experience progressing from one bike to another over time. So this is the used bike shop, so maybe we'll check from time to time to see if any new bikes show up here. And next to it is the new bike shop, so there it's sorted by brand. And I think those will be the latest bikes. So we'll see how things go as we move forward. But that might mean there are some older bikes from the 80s and 90s that we won't always be able to buy. If the used shop is, let's say, kind of temporary, maybe we'll have to check back regularly, like in Gran Turismo 7's used shop, to have a chance to buy an old bike that we're particularly interested in. So here, I'm looking at an example. I'm not going to go all the way. Let's try to save a little money on the side. But what's pretty cool is that for each bike, you can configure it before buying, with the choice of exhaust already by default, but also the choice of rims. So you'll be able to customize all that. These are, in my opinion, somewhat generic parts, in quotes, meaning that the rims I'm showing you here, I think you can find them on the other bikes as well. In my opinion, you can choose the tires as well. It's the same here, the brand. Knowing that the brand and type of tire you choose will have an impact on the ride. Actually, I'm wondering if you can't directly upgrade the bike before buying it. Because I feel like all the parts we have access to here are parts that we would normally use during the bike upgrade phase. So basically, I feel like we can pre-upgrade the bike before buying it, which will have an impact on its final price. So, next, we have the riding school here. You know the classic stuff if you've ever played Ride or Gran Turismo. Basically, you have tracks that are going to be divided into several segments, into several sections. And you'll have to get the best possible times on those sections. It's to memorize them, but also sometimes to get small rewards. That's usually how it works. Ah yes, that's exactly it right there. For example, if I take the basic driving menu, if I manage to get the 8 gold medals. So really, if you look closely at the reward, for example, I'll get the Racing Sport 457 Ride Face Motorcycle, 2024 edition. And that's the case for all the sections of the driving school. Then, you have multiplayer. I can't show that here since I'm testing the game in version 6P and the servers aren't open. We have the quick mode, so in my opinion, that's the mode where you can test all the bikes on all the tracks. In a really free mode, quite simply. So, that's it. By the way, I'm showing you the different tracks like the Nordschleife. And then there are only big tracks. Monaco, Mont-Sablement, Mugello, Imola. Honestly, they really enjoyed themselves with this, seriously. Content-wise, it's pretty incredible, I think, what they're offering there. We have the career mode here, and we have the editor. Wait, what's the editor? It's to customize bike liveries, for example. Okay, the shop, that must be to buy maybe the racing suits, that's it. And the garage. Wow, we'll be able to customize our bike. And actually, we have access. I feel like we have different parts than the ones we had earlier in the new bikes shop. So maybe there are things we can pre-upgrade, maybe there are things we'll be able to upgrade later. I really think it's going to depend on each bike and the menu we're in right now. Clutch, camshaft, carburetor, piston, connecting rod, air filter, control unit. As for the engine exhaust, well, that's what we could modify earlier. Transmission, braking system, suspension, tires, rims, accessories. That's for the aesthetics, mirrors, and turn signal plates. So now, we're going to connect in career mode, which is also different from the previous careers in Ride 5. Actually, here we have a career where, to complete each chapter, we can choose the events we want to do and the ones we don't want to do. Here, for example, for the first part of this chapter, I have 2 races to complete out of the 4 that are here. So I can choose if I want to do off-road, for example, or not. If I want to do more street racing or sport bike racing, I'll have the choice, and that's how it will work for the whole career. It'll be like that every time. Just so you know, as you can see here, the bike selection is locked, which means I'm playing with a bike that's loaned to me by the game. That's just for this very first chapter, but it won't be the case for all the events. In my view, it's mainly because this is the first introductory chapter. They likely assumed that starting your career, you wouldn't have much money or many bikes. And it's also a chance to discover different categories and get a feel for what's new in this Ride 6. So, as you can see, with this career mode, you can choose which events you want to do based on your preferences, depending on the track offered, whether the bike is mandatory or not, and the race conditions that interest you or not. You don't have to complete every event, but if you want to finish all career events, nothing will stop you. We're riding an Indian, and this bike is really heavy. Nothing like the KTM we used for the game's introduction. In my opinion, that's why it's more interesting to play in Pro mode. I think the differences from one bike to another are going to be even bigger. I'm still adjusting to the braking. I'm keeping the racing lines on for now since these tracks are new to me, but I'll turn them off once I'm on more familiar tracks. It's more interesting that way. Here, it's true that we're on a bike that's really heavy. It also has a lot of torque, and I still haven't figured it out. By the way, how do I change the camera view in the controls? Change the camera. It's simply the middle pad. Okay, alright, I'll show you a bit of gameplay in first-person view. But I have to admit, I hate this view in motorcycle games. It completely confuses me, actually, in terms of feeling I hate it, but here you go, I'm showing you anyway, just so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Knowing that, in my opinion, for each bike, we have working gauges, we have little things that will show up on the screen. Damn, I hate this view. It's like I don't understand where the bike is. You know, it's a bit confusing, so we have several first-person views and we have the helmet view, which might be a bit cooler, but it can also be pretty unsettling. Because in addition to having to manage the bike's movements, we also have to deal with the helmet's movements. Anyway, we're going to switch back to the normal view, the third-person view, to try to finish this race, not in last place. But the acceleration this thing has, it's like a rocket. The mess, the torque especially, it's pretty intense. We're going to try to catch up a bit. We're going to try to do a good lap. So, just to clarify, there's a rewind system to go back. If you crash, you just have to press R1. Then, you can choose where you want to resume and press the cross button, and it puts you back. So, I say R1 because we're on the PlayStation 5 but with an Xbox. I guess it would be right bumper or something like that. So, there you go. There's the rewind feature that lets you go back. If you make a mistake, for example, if you fall at the last corner of the lap and lose 10 positions at once, it can be really useful. Also, I didn't mention that each race in career mode has slightly different objectives. For example, here, the objective of the first race we are doing with the Indian is to finish 5th at best. So, if we manage to finish 3rd, that's perfect. First is even better, but at least 5th. And I think there are also secondary challenges. I haven't checked what they are for this event, but it could be finishing a lap under a certain time, reaching a certain speed, not falling. It could be anything, really. And each challenge you complete, I think, gives you stars, and the stars are used later in your career. Because right now, we're still in the prologue of the game. Suppose we haven't decided on our career direction yet. Those stars are used to unlock the next chapters. So, let's say, the more you drive, well, the more objectives you complete, normally the more you progress. If I understood correctly, you'll be able to customize your career path and choose the events you like. So here, we finished first, we completed the event without crashing, and finished the event at least in 5th place, so that's cool. That gives us a few stars. It's a close-up of a motorcycle, so we didn't advance the objective. So, I think what that means is that on each motorcycle, there must be some kind of experience points level. And in my opinion, we should be able to get discounts, maybe on the price, upgrades, that kind of thing, by raising the experience points level of each motorcycle. So now, next, do we have a time trial event that's about to start? So now, normally, we shouldn't be up against anyone, just the clock. And we'll have to complete the following objective. Finish in 6th place in the time trial ranking. If we place better than 3rd, we'll get the bonus objective. Let's see how it goes. We're completely changing style, bike, and the whole environment. Honestly, the game looks really good. Really, do you guys take any? Let's go take a look. In photo mode, if we check out the scenery, the quality of the vegetation, everything around, even the quality of, well, the crowd, all of that. All the little details, it's actually pretty clean in terms of lighting, textures, and shadows. Even the choice, let's say the artistic direction, the choice of color grading, is pretty cool and quite natural. I really think this Ride 6 looks great. I have to admit I'd like to try a night race or a race in the rain, just to see what kind of aesthetic vibe it gives. But honestly, it's beautiful, and honestly, I think we can say that Ride 6 is clearly, and by far, the most beautiful motorcycle game right now. I don't see any game that does better. If you have suggestions, let me know in the comments. In my opinion, nothing looks better graphically, especially with the penalty system. So here, in time trial mode, you can see at the top right, the P, and then 545 thousandths behind. Damn, there you go. So wait, can I rewind? Let's rewind. P. Right there, the penalty thing. It calculates your penalty times depending on if you cut the track, if you drive on the side, so it depends. There's a little bit of tolerance though, like we just saw there. I didn't get a penalty. But I think in this mode, it's going to be added to the final time, and that's how it works. Here, in this case, I think because of that, we might not achieve our goal. So, seeing that, where are we? We're actually 5th, so that's fine. The goal was 6th, 5th is good, and if we hadn't had the penalties, we probably would have been 4th. So now, we've completed 2 challenges here. So, we have access to the next little part of the chapter, and now we just need to complete 1 more to finish the chapter and unlock the reward. So, it's the same here. We can only choose from locked bikes, so there's no bike choice, but what do we have? We've got a time trial here, we've got a race with the Indian, I think it's the same one. The Challenger, R. Alright, let's stick with the time trial, but it's just that here, it lets me try out other bikes that I haven't tested yet. So this way, it also lets me show you some different gameplay. Well yes, so here, on the other hand, we're going off-road. And I have to admit, I'm not feeling very confident because I'm not very good at motocross games, and honestly, I'm not very good at motorcycle games in general. But here, we'll see then. Obviously, we have a bike that's also prepared for it. Wow, how does it turn differently? Oh yeah, it's nothing like it. Actually, when it comes to braking, steering, managing everything, it's completely different. Actually, because here, even though we have anti-slip and all the traction control, I still lose grip if I accelerate suddenly. And the braking, it's completely different. Because in my opinion, if I brake too hard, the bike probably digs into the ground a bit. You know what I mean by digging in? The front wheel has to support all the weight. And in my opinion, you lose even more braking efficiency, and you lose even more, I think, in steering. Because I think with the ground, you really have to slide the front even more. So, you have to go easy here. The game is still pretty forgiving, in my opinion. We're going to do a lap time. It's going to be so bad, guys. Oh man, this sucks. I'm terrible. That's it. It's awful. I think we're really going to do a terrible lap time. Actually, if you want to be fast, I feel like it's in off-road. You have to use the rear brake, and you have to slide the back of the bike in the turn to try to catch the line and the curve a bit. Otherwise, the bike just goes straight, so you have to do it. For now, that works best for me. I tap the rear brake slightly, then accelerate hard to make the bike slide and quickly get back on the gas. It worked well. Despite the penalties, we finished 5th. Without them, I believe we would have been 3rd. However, the motorcycle driving physics are different, so it's not just nonsense. Actually, they really created an off-road physics system and really focused on that, and that's pretty cool. So, I think I've finished the first chapter now. And we've unlocked new areas, so that's it. Now, hold on. I want to claim my reward first. My reward? Give me your loot. What's the reward? A motorcycle? So is it random? I can choose. Okay, so here, we actually get to choose between a small one, a modified for racing. Still. I feel like taking the scooter out of curiosity to see what it can do. So let's take it. Let's confirm that. And then, I actually get access to the Scooter Maniac career mode. So now, for example, if I do this, do I start getting motorcycles? Those are the motorcycles I'll be able to choose. Authorized motorcycles. Actually, I think overall, the career, you'll be able to use the motorcycle of your choice as long as you have a motorcycle that fits the category of the event. Otherwise, you'll have a loaner motorcycle. And so, that's what I was telling you for each part of the career. You need a specific number of stars to unlock them, which you earn by completing previous parts. So here, Clearly, we could continue the challenges of the first chapter to get up to 210 stars. That would already give us access to this competition and to that competition. To wrap up this discovery video, I'll show some gameplay with the newly unlocked scooter, which is also a new feature. Here, we've tested, let's say, the 3 major new features of this Ride 6 in terms of motorcycle riding. We tested baggers with the Indian, we tried a bit of off-road, which is a totally different way of riding. And now, we're going to try a little bit more. The scooter, which is definitely not a rusty old scooter. It's a scooter made for racing. So, don't expect to be riding a T-Max, okay? It's actually pretty funny to have a little scooter, damn, hitting 130 on this thing. Having just one gear, a variator with the revs stuck at 8,000 revolutions per minute, it's pretty unique. Because by ear, it's actually pretty hard to tell, well, what speed you're going at, so it's kind of weird, but it's pretty funny too. Those upgraded scooters with the variator must be a real trip, honestly. So, well, my first impression of this Ride 6 is that it's really positive, honestly. Now, we'll see in the long run once again how it turns out with the career mode by playing the game a bit more, for longer. By the way, don't hesitate to come follow me on Twitch, because I'll be doing live streams on Ride 6. To discover more about the career mode and try out new things, don't hesitate to come follow me on Twitch. Come on, come. There's also a pinned comment on Primer to support my channel for free. So, well, this little Ride 6 is looking pretty good, I think. The graphics are really, really beautiful. We have 3 new categories of bikes. We have off-road, which looks really, really cool, with a completely reworked physics system. There are about 300 customizable bikes. There's a used bike shop with older bikes, and that's really cool too. The bikes are fully upgradable, and you can customize the characters. You can approach the career mode however you want, focusing on the events you most want to do and the type of bike you like the most. That's also really, really cool. The physics aspect. On one hand, there are arcade physics, which are easier for new players. And on the other hand, the pro physics. That's the one that gives you more sensations and really lets players who enjoy the try-hard side of Ride keep enjoying it. Also, if you have any questions about the game, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer as many as I can. Of course, you can also leave a like on this video and subscribe for more, because we're going to test a lot of bikes, and we'll keep following the game and updates as we go along, so don't hesitate. Thank you for watching this video. We'll see each other later for the Discovery livestream.